Welcome back and happy Friday to the Gathering Movement community and family. I'm here today with Heather Robinson, and we are going to be talking all about how to embody the great mama within. Welcome, Heather.
Thank you.
I'm excited for you to be here. And you and I have known each other for, I think, a couple of years at this point. I was trying to think back. Has it been that long?
Possibly. It's been at least a year, maybe a year and a half. Could be two, because my whole sense of time is a little warped.
I hear you on that. Well, I'm excited to be here with you today. And I realized before the interview, there are some things I actually don't know about your journey and your story. Although I even read your chapter in Legacy Speaks, there's some things I still don't fully know. So I'm excited to be here with you today. Let's begin with what the mother archetype is, because this is something that you talk about a lot, and I'd love to just get like the overview of what that is.
Yeah, so the mother archetype is really just that energy of sustaining. The essence of the mother is how do you sustain life? So you can look at it, as how do you sustain the growth, your healing, your growth in your business. You kind of get up a couple notches or steps in the ladder, and then you might come back down. How do you sustain that as you grow? So you can keep going and building on that. So while it is the mother, there's feminine and masculine aspects to it. It applies to everybody. I just tend to work with women and mothers, but it is that energy of support and nurturing and boundaries, right? Like there's a little bit of a lot of different things in there.
Is this something that you came up with yourself? Is this something that you learned about?
No, I didn't come up with it. It's one of Jung's archetypes that, before he died, he wished that he named them energy or spirit or whatever. But it's just that energy. And like a lot of people talk about it in terms of women going through their cycles. There's a week in the cycle that is the mother energy. You can talk about it through the lens of motherhood, which is how I learned it. Just becoming a mom, and what is that energy actually about, and how do you embody this archetype in an integrated way rather than in the shadow aspects of it, where it's just a lens of looking at something, and how do you learn to be more like that, right?
Yeah, this makes more and more sense. More and more as you talk about it. It's really just like today I held a yoga class and we did a meditation on mountains, and how can we like embody the energy of the mountains, the strength, the resiliency of a mountain, the unwaveringness of a mountain. It's the same concept, right?
Yeah, it's Mother Earth. So the way that you tap into it is to really look at the elements and aspects of Earth, meditating into the center of the earth, really feeling being held by the ground beneath you, walking, those are sorts of things that you can do to tap into the energy of the mother, certainly. And you can embody those aspects of strength and, just holding the boundary of this is the mountain. This is it. The boundaries of the earth. You know what I mean? So that's where the mother archetype really is about. How do you create and hold boundaries that feel good for you?
And you mentioned this was a concept that Jung defined. Did you study psychology? Like, what were you doing prior to all this work that you're doing now?
No, I mean, I have, so I knew of it, but I've never dived deep into that. I, before all of this, was a photographer and a doula. And as a newborn photographer, becoming a doula, working with babies and new families, I was very much in this baby world, in this mother world. And I then kind of just shifted gears in a divine unfolding of events. And when I became a mom, that's when I was really like, okay, what is it about the mother? What is it about this energy? And really, I came to this energy as a mode of survival. I came to looking and studying, what is it about the mother archetype? Let me learn more about it. I'm in it. I'm very much in it. How can I survive using this energy? How can I survive using this archetype? And it's so much more than survival when you embody it. When you really tap into this energy, you understand it and you use its tools, such as boundaries. That's just one aspect of it, right? One tool that you can take from the mother archetype. But when you use all of them together, you end up thriving rather than just surviving. You end up flourishing in your life. You end up really being able to grow and sustain whatever it is that you're building, whether it's a child, your own self, a business, it doesn't matter. So while I came to it as a means of survival, it's been so helpful in just expanding beyond just the parameters of, I gotta just survive, right?
And I know that for you, becoming a mother yourself was a huge, beautiful next chapter, a beautiful next step for you. So how has being a mother helped you also embody and understand this archetype even more?
Yeah, I think just putting it into practice and really feeling it and seeing it, right? When you're a mom, you look at the mother archetype, I talk about it a lot through the lens of motherhood. So for example, right, even in postpartum, it's really hard to know what you need when you're freshly postpartum. You're so tired. You're so drained, depleted. Your focus is solely on baby. You are not tuning into self, most likely, right? So it's really hard to just be in tune with what it is that you need, let alone being able to speak it out and ask for help. When you're raising a kid, so beyond freshly postpartum, there's the boundaries of raising a child, and they need ritual, they need structure of some sort, not schedules necessarily, but understanding how their minds work moving through the day. It's the same as ours. After this, you do this. After this, we do this. After this, we do this, right? But it's not strict. It's fluid. It's flexible. So the mother energy is about this balance between having structure and having flow, having the boundaries and having flexibility in those to change as needed. So really seeing that he needs that and really tapping into that for myself and just how we move through the day. Once we got outside of that postpartum world of just like, what do I even need right now?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So I recently, I was walking at my local park and they have one of those like book pickup drop off things where you can just like grab a book. And sometimes what I like to do is I close my eyes and I just like grab a random book to like see what comes to me, right? And the book I picked was called Bringing Up Bebe by Pamela Druckerman. Are you familiar with it?
I'll have
so it was a fascinating book, and it actually details like French parenting styles versus American parenting styles. She's American, but lives in France, and just started to notice some of the norms there. And one of the biggest things that like really stood out to me was she said that French mothers really like to get themselves back like very quickly, whereas the American mother, and this is a complete generalization, of course, the American mother is really like putting herself into the child and forgetting self. So like, what are your thoughts on that? Because what you just said reminded me of this book.
My thoughts on that are that there's a really beautiful balance. It's not one or the other. And this is the same in regardless. In American culture, there's this like stress to get on a schedule, to feed baby at the same time every day, to nap baby at the same time every day, and to like just, and it's a means of control so that you can get some level of like yourself back. But it's a very rigid form of what we're saying that babies need routine. We need routine too. So we're just big babies, but there's a balance there. There's a balance. There doesn't have to be this all them or all me. The mother energy is very much me first. So there's that aspect that maybe they understand me first. You have to get yourself back. You have to really be supported and held in order for your body and spirit to heal from becoming a mother. And then you can embody the role of motherhood very physically in the human, sense of it, embodying that role better because you have yourself back. But then, it's this balance, right? The types of different mothers, you can have the one that's very centered on self to the detriment of baby.
Right.
Or the one that's very centered on baby to the detriment of self. You want to be centered on self first for baby. That's the balance.
So I like that. I just had the click of, so you were a doula also before this. So how did that knowledge of, helping a woman through her birth process, or prior or after, how did that knowledge help you do what you're doing today?
Greatly. This is just a very deep, specific way of holding people through that, and applying it to people who aren't just moms, fresh new moms. I think that this work that I'm doing now can prepare people for motherhood in a much better way. If you are really, if you understand the energy, then you can more smoothly move into that role, knowing that, what everyone else is saying over here is different than what's being said inside of here. And that's the goal, to recognize what it is that you need, not what other people are telling you you need. What is it that you need? What is it that's coming up for you? What is it that might need to be healed, aspects that need to be healed, that are impacting your way of parenting. You're not a parent, that are impacting your way in relationship, in your business, in your own growth journey. If you recognize those patterns, if you recognize those default settings, if you recognize the self-sabotage, you recognize the wounds, you recognize those sorts of things, then you can really tune in and say, oh, well, what do I need? I need to pay attention to this. I need to heal this. I need to support in this arena. You know what I mean? And then you can more consciously move through life without this outside opinion, whether it's society telling you how to raise your kid, whether it's this default setting programming from your ancestors, whether it's, your own inner child saying you can't do this and you don't deserve this and, whatever. Those are the sorts of things that really come up when you dive deep into being in tune with self, so that you can take care of self first. And that's how it applies to everybody. It's not just moms. Yeah. So that great mother within is, how do you parent yourself to recognize, what do I need? What's happening here? What's coming up, so I can make a conscious choice to do something different that actually works for me, not for everybody else.
Yeah, the word that comes to me is discernment of what is mine versus what is someone else's. And I think that that's one of the greatest gifts yet challenges on the human journey, because we have a lot of noise.
Yes.
There's a lot of noise, especially with social media. And that's the blessing, but also the challenge is there's a lot. So how do you recommend people to come back to self?
There's a lot of different practices, embodiment practices, just self-care in general, taking time to be with self, to take time to be present with whatever it is that you are doing, who you're with, what you're growing, to really just tap into what is actually happening here. How do I actually feel? So there's a bunch of different tools and embodiment practices, but really just bringing that awareness. How do I feel right now? What's happening here? Getting into the body and out of the head. Go for a walk, get outside, take a deep breath, meditate, dance. Any of those sorts of things really allow you to just get into your body, to feel, what is it I'm actually feeling in my body, so that I can connect with myself.
Yeah. Have you ever had the experience of not feeling connected to help you better understand the feeling of connection?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, before becoming a mom, I think that I was really moving through a lot of these things with um, this like, this is what you do, and this is what works. But you can do all of the right things, and your awareness, your presence, your attention is not where it should be, and therefore you're just missing like this whole experience. You're missing the whole integration of self into that experience. So before motherhood, I was really just kind of like going through the motions and like, this is what I should be doing, and this is what I should be doing. And yeah, it feels good, and that's fine, but like ignoring a lot of things happening, unaware, really, not ignoring, well, sometimes ignoring, but unaware of a lot of the things happening within that. I could have changed a lot of maybe made different choices. I would have been empowered with being able to make different choices had I been aware of.
And this show, like, really, I want this show to be the reminder for everyone that regardless of circumstance, that they can feel empowered, they can live a life that they desire. And I admire your work because I know that that's part of your mission too, this whole idea of empowering anyone, whether it's the mother, to really find the sense of self and live in a way that they can thrive instead of just, survive. So how would you say that your work most empowers people, and what are some of the outcomes, about themselves once they work with you?
Yeah, my goal in my work is to really teach people to be their own teacher. And that's, as a doula, I started to do this as a doula. I was holding space and showing moms how to, be a mom. Essentially, in the beginning, you're kind of like helping them along and showing them, the tricks of the trade, and giving them the resources and information that they need to really be empowered to do their job well. And so now, just diving in a little bit deeper and broadening who is helping, not just moms who just birth a baby. It's empowering people with this idea and understanding of how to really change your life, how to really show up differently in it, and simple tweaks to really allow it to kind of like get unstuck and to flow into what it is that you want it to be. But doing so in a way that's like, I'm going to give you the steps. Let's see, what does it feel good? What feels good for you? That's another doula thing. Here's all of the ways you could do this one thing. Which one do you want to do? So it's the same sort of thing. Here's all of the tools. Which one feels good for you right now? What is your body calling you to do right now? And then you can really be able to teach yourself, to heal yourself, to move through life continuously and regularly every day, feeling attuned with your needs, attuned with what is the next step? How can I flow through my day a little bit more easily if I just take 5 minutes to do one of these things? Which one feels good?
I obviously also love the idea of us being our own teachers. And this kind of comes back to what we talked about before, how there's so much noise. So it can be really challenging to like find that teacher. But I really believe that teachers who are there should be there to help us understand who we are.
Yeah.
We don't just take what they say and
Right.
whatever. We have to understand what is right for us, which is exactly what you are doing. So I love that doula philosophy too. And I'm curious for you, have you had a teacher yourself who guided you to this? Have you had read teachings or a certain text that helped you come to this understanding?
Nobody specific and not one single text. right? This is all like a piece here, a piece here, a piece here, a piece here, as well as just like my own experiences. A lot of what I learned actually came from my own mother wound and my own experience as a child, my own first memory. And how do I not do that? Right? And like my own awareness of how your choices as a parent can really impact a child for their entire lives, and understanding how, you know, there's not just like this magical number that babies get to an age that, oh, now they're aware. Now I got to do something different. It's like, no, this is a whole lifetime. The entirety of that time is when you have to be aware of how you're present with them. And so a lot of it really just came from my own experience and my own healing journey and my own witness of a lot of other parents' struggles, a lot of them, and how many of them could have been maybe not avoided, but diminished had they been given the knowledge or the resources or the permission to just do what you feel is best and stop listening to all of this other crap, you know?
Yes. And there's been, I think, some people I've maybe come across online who don't recommend reading all the books on motherhood.
I don't either.
Because, yeah, someone else's experience is just that. It's their experience. It's not yours.
Yeah. I don't recommend it either. I recommend, you know, maybe one, so you understand the process, maybe one that explains different styles of parenting. You know, it's something to be aware and conscious of, like, these different things. You don't want to go in blind because you're going to just go to default, which is exactly how you were raised. If you love how you were raised and everything in that was hunky-dory, then great. Fall back on default, you know, but if there were some things in there that you're conscious and aware of that didn't maybe flow so well, you can make a different choice. And you can be aware in your daily choices as self, in your business, with your kids, with your partnership, right? You can be conscious and aware of your daily choices and how you can make them different than default. With just some awareness, just some sort of education and information outside of your own experience, of course. And then we find growth.
Appreciate that. For you, what's next on first the personal level? Like, do you have anything fun and exciting personally coming up? And then on the professional level, business-wise, what's coming up for you?
On the personal level, taking my son camping for the first time.
That'll be fun.
That'll be really fun. Just kind of making a big fort in a tent. I'm just stoked about. I'm stoked. So personally, I'm looking forward to that. Professionally, I am really excited about this masterclass I've been offering every week. It's free. It's really just kind of diving into more of the specifics of what is the mother archetype and what does it look like? What are the different aspects of it? How can you identify when they aren't integrated, the shadow aspects? How can you identify when the shadows are coming out in your world? But then most importantly, my one-to-one program I'm relaunching on Sunday, and I'm so excited to just celebrate. Like, this program I've been working on and offering since October, but she, in the past 3 months, has really just kind of, I say she because it's like, you know, energy, and her name is Tara, and it's really just like, that means earth, and it's the essence of this program is that. And so I'm releasing her grown-up self. Her birthday's on Sunday, so I'm celebrating that. Her just like kind of growing up into herself, which is exactly what the program is about. How do you grow up and just grow into yourself, right? Like, you have these like teenage years, you have the okay, college time frame, right? Of like, woo, I'm free. And then it's like, okay, let's grow up into ourselves. How do we really take care of ourselves so we can grow and thrive and sustain life outside of ourselves in whatever aspect that may be, relationships, business, career, yourself, your family, kids. So, yeah.
So exciting. I love it. And I love the name. My mom's name is Tara, but hers is Tara. I know yours is Terra, but I just think it's special.
I love it. I love it. Yeah, spelling was important to make sure there was a differentiation there, but still like a human kind of a name that could be for a human. And like the vision of her energy in my mind is like this really beautiful woman. And that was her name. So
that sounds amazing. Your camping trip with your son sounds just so beautiful, so nice. Will you pitch the tent yourself?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. And he'll help me.
Heck yeah. That's amazing. Amazing. Yes. Your program sounds just amazing. I just love the work that you're doing. And I love how you explain the mother archetype. It lands. I understand what you mean. And we all have to come back to mothering ourselves.
Yeah.
Mothering ourselves, regardless of our childhood, right? Whether you had a beautiful childhood, a challenging childhood, a up and down childhood, we all deserve to mother ourselves too.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. Well, I just want to thank you so much for being here today, for gracing us with your presence and your wisdom and your knowledge, and always giving us the message of empowerment that we can do and be whoever we choose to be. So thank you so much, Heather, for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope everyone has a magical, blessed, beautiful weather weekend ahead, and we will be back with another episode soon. See you later, everyone.